Council.
Good evening. To order the business meeting of the Florence City Council. And if you could please stand. We pray for the wisdom to make decisions that are beneficial to the people represented here. Empower us to speak honestly, reflect wisely, and vote with integrity. We seek your guidance tonight. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Ms. Wingo.
Present.
Ms. Chambers.
Here.
Mr. Wynn.
Here.
Ms. Whalen.
Here.
Mr. Schneider.
Present.
Ms. Cable.
Here.
Mayor, we have a quorum.
We have for your consideration approval of the minutes of the business meeting of January 28th, 2025. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Ms. Whalen?
Second.
Second, Mr. Wynn. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, we do have oaths of office, and Chief, if you'd like to introduce.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. I'm going to approach the podium if that's all right. Thank you, everyone. Tonight, we want to acknowledge a couple of members of our department's latest accomplishments. First off, I'd like to start with Josh Corey. Firefighter Josh Corey, will you come up front, please? So Josh Corey, Firefighter Josh Corey, is a captain, paramedic with Florence Fire and EMS. Josh's hire date was January 31st, 2011. He promoted to a lieutenant on December 29th, 2019, and now Josh has the rank of captain with Florence Fire and EMS. Captain Ricky Lang, Firefighter Ricky Lang. It's all right. Come on. Here. Hey, hold this for me. Firefighter Ricky Lang is a captain, EMT, for Florence Fire and EMS. Ricky's hire date was April 11th, 2011. Promoted to a lieutenant on September 8th, 2019. Firefighter Brent Woost. Firefighter Woost is a captain, paramedic with Florence Fire and EMS. Hired in with us on March 20th, 2017. Promoted to a lieutenant on December 29th, 2019. And tonight, we would like to welcome these folks to the rank of captain with Florence Fire and EMS.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Kentucky so long as you remain a citizen thereof, and that you will faithfully execute to the best of your ability the office of Fire EMS Captain of the City of Florence Fire EMS Department according to law? And do you further solemnly swear, since the adoption of the present Constitution, you being a citizen of this state have not fought a duel with deadly weapons within the state nor out of it, nor have you sent or accepted a challenge to fight a duel with deadly weapons, nor have you acted as a second in carrying a challenge, nor aided or assisted any person thus offending, so help you God. Congratulations.
Captain Corey. Congratulations. 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 It's customary, if you have anyone who would like to pin you, please proceed. Captain Corey, who do you have with you tonight?
This is my wife Andrea, my son Evan, and my daughter Emily, and my parents Michelle, Becky, and Steve in the back.
Captain Lang.
And my wife, Lindsay, son Houston, my son Silas, we all met LMA. Also have my mom here, my in-laws, and somewhere on the phone there were some people from Florida, I think, for a brief period of time there, I couldn't make it, so.
Good. Captain Wood.
I have my father Paul here, and then I have my stepmom Patty, and some cousins in the back.
Very nice.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing these fine folks with our department. Second reading of ordinance 01-2025. It's an ordinance adopting and approving a zoning map amendment for Commercial 2 Plan Development Houston-Donaldson Study Corridor, C2 PD HDO, to Office 2 Plan Development Houston-Donaldson Study Corridor, O2 PD HDO, for an approximate 5.3 acre site located at 5935 and 5945 Merchant Street, Florence, Kentucky, to allow the development of a 4-story, 62,000 square foot hotel. This is CVAT at Merchant Square, LLC, Kemble Credit Union, Inc. The effect of this ordinance is to allow a zoning map amendment from Commercial 2 Plan Development Houston-Donaldson Study Corridor to Office 2 Plan Development Houston-Donaldson Study Corridor for approximately 5.3 acre site located at 5935 and 5945 Merchant Street, Florence, Kentucky, to allow the development of a 4-story, 62,000 square foot hotel. The full text of Ordinance 01-2025, including its exhibits, is available for examination in the Office of the City Clerk of the City of Florence, Kentucky, 8100 Ewing Boulevard, Florence, Kentucky, during regular office hours. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Mr. Nguyen, second by
Second.
Ms. Wingo. Any discussion? We did have this discussed at a caucus meeting. We've had first reading. This would be the second reading. Is there any other discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Wingo?
Yes.
Ms. Chambers?
Yes.
Mr. Nguyen?
Yes.
Ms. Whalen?
Yes.
Mr. Snyder?
Yes.
Ms. Cable?
Yes.
Mayor, motion passes 6-0.
Next item is an ordinance, it's a first reading of ordinance 02-2025. It's an ordinance enacting and creating the Florence Transportation Improvement District, TID, as authorized by KRS 184.350, 184.395. This ordinance creates Florence Transportation Improvement District as authorized by KRS 184 3.50 to KRS 184.395 and provides for the establishment of a Board of Trustees as authorized by KRS 184.353. This ordinance directs the Board of Trustees to establish bylaws for submittal to and approval by City Council. The full text of Ordinance O2-2025, including its exhibits, is available for examination in the office of the City Clerk of the City of Florence, Kentucky, in Florence Government Center, 8100 Ewing Boulevard, Florence, Kentucky, during regular office hours. Is there a motion to approve? Ms. Whalen?
Second.
Second, Ms. Wingo. Is there any discussion?
Could Eric maybe touch on this a little bit again, just so it's such a big deal and something that's important to the city?
Absolutely. So last week, we spent some time and did a presentation. We had Wade Williams in and former Kentucky State Representative Sal Santora do a presentation on the TID, which is the Transportation Improvement District. Boone County approved the first one in the state last year. If this is approved, this would be the first in the city of Florence, but to summarize this, this provides the city an opportunity to establish and receive funds, state, federal, public-private partnerships in ways that gives us local control in areas we currently don't have it. For example, state roadways. So by us receiving these funds, we could make improvements on something like a Kentucky 18 or US 42 or something along those lines. So this board just allows us to do that, and through some staffing improvements that we'll also be looking and discussing during the budget retreat, we'll be able to start seeking these funds and building projects and really just speeding things along. One thing that was said during the presentation was the current KYTC plan is a 6-year plan, but it's more like a 60-year plan. So this is really going to allow us to establish projects, get the funding, and get them built. So happy to entertain any questions.
Ms. Cable?
Yeah, I do. I have a couple questions. I know that that this would be the first TID board for the city, but we have one for the county. I know that was established about a year ago, and appointments have been made, but no funding has been given to this board yet. What is the timeline we are looking for funding for this board? That's my first question.
Yeah, it's a good question. So Boone County actually was awarded funding, $10 million. They just don't have it in their bank account yet. So as soon as they established their ordinance, they were provided with that funding, and they're working through that process in Frankfort now to get access to it. They also have another project, because many of you know I'm on that board as a non-voting member. There's another project that they are getting ready to receive $1.6 or $1.8 million for another project. We just had a public hearing on that last week. So those funds look like those are going to come through as well. So in theory, I mean, there is funding that they're getting. On our end, as soon as you pass this ordinance, we will start working towards establishing funding in Frankfort and seeing what we can get our hands on. I can't tell you when we'll get it, but we're going to lobby for it, and we've got several priority projects that we're going to go after, and one of them being the Mall Road connector from Pleasant Valley all the way over to Mall Road and connecting to the interstate. So that's going to be a priority project that we're going to go after funding for.
Okay. My second question is, you had mentioned public hearings. This will be a part of the process for the city's TID board as well, correct?
That is
There will
correct.
be public hearings.
Absolutely.
Okay. And then my final point that I was looking through of the projects, I didn't notice the project on 18 at the truck stop. I noticed there was the truck stop on 42, but I know that that is a source of contention amongst a lot of people in Boone County. And I noticed that was not there. And then the other is the, I believe it's exit 181, I could be wrong, 182, Florence 42, when you get off the exit, and they've created that new lane to go towards 42, towards Ackerman Middle School is how I'm going to word it. I don't know if that's north or
Yeah.
south. Are those projects things that we will be looking at as opposed to just the ones listed and provided in the memorandum that you had provided?
Absolutely. So the last one you mentioned we're looking at a couple different options. That was in there, but so we're gonna look at Weaver Road, possibly making a connection, but also looking at that intersection at 42. And is there a way to connect over to Industrial Road and maybe do that whole intersection differently? None of that is fleshed out, but that piece will be evaluated there. As far as the Kentucky 18, there is a whole study that's being done, which is why we didn't include this, that's going to go all the way from 275 all the way back to Kentucky 18. And they're evaluating that whole impact of every one of those stops along the way. So we are very much aware of the impact the truck stop has on Kentucky 18. So it will absolutely be something we continue to push for. It's not on here because it's being studied, and then whatever comes out of that study, we may go after, depending on what the impact is and what things come out of that.
And just one more question. Just because I'm very big on government oversight, and knowing Boone County has this board, and it's fresh and it's new, and we haven't seen any progress out of that. What are the odds that this board is going to do what is being promised? It's not something we're trying to establish just because we want to be the first city in the state to do this.
It's a great question, and it's the big reason why I want to establish a leadership staff component. Right now, Boone County doesn't have that. And they may look at this model that we're proposing, based on some of my discussion, and move in that direction as well. I don't know. But we want someone focused on it so it is successful. So that means seeking funds and whatever, and establishing projects and moving this thing forward. So that's why I think we're going to be different, because we are setting it up different, based on having a leadership role that will report within my department, and they will align with our goals within the city, and then we can execute projects based on that.
So you're essentially saying that this TID board will be different than the Boone County TID board?
Absolutely, it will be.
Okay.
From the perspective of staffing. Right now, no one at the county is assigned to work on the TID day in and day out. We will have that here.
And those appointed are going to be on a board like our similar boards. Are these individuals that are appointed going to be paid officials?
That's not currently, when we established the bylaws, that we could discuss that at that point, if that's something you guys wanted to do, was pay those members, but that will be established in the bylaws.
Okay.
Any other questions? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Ms. Wingo?
Yes.
Ms. Chambers?
No.
Mr. Nguyen?
Yes.
Ms. Whalen?
Yes.
Mr. Schneider?
Yes.
Ms. Cable?
As of yet, no.
Mayor, motion passes 4-2.
We have the first reading of ordinance 03-2025. It's an ordinance updating the traffic regulations of the city of Florence by amending ordinance 023-22 relating to parking prohibitions, stop signs, speed regulations, truck traffic prohibitions, left turn prohibitions, one-way streets, and right turn only streets. This ordinance revises the existing traffic regulations of the city to make appropriate changes to parking prohibitions, stop signs, speed limits, truck traffic prohibitions, left turn prohibitions, one-way street prohibitions, and right turn only authorizations. This ordinance effectively amends the existing ordinance 023-2022. The full text of ordinance 03-2025, including its exhibits, is available for examination in the office of the city clerk, City of Florence, Kentucky, 8100 Ewing Boulevard, during regular office hours. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Ms. Wingo?
Second.
Second, Mr. Nguyen. Any discussion? Ms. Kagan?
Sorry, I know, I'm taking you away from your football, or your basketball game, I'm sorry. I'll try to make it quick. It's a basketball game, right? Okay. I'll try to make it quick. I was noticing some of the speed limits on these streets, and we have a lot of cul-de-sacs in the city of Florence. And looking at these speed limits, I believe 20 miles an hour is far too high of a speed limit to have on some of these streets. I think 15 is probably more doable. Just my take on those. Streets that are not streets that end in a cul-de-sac, I understand more of a 20, 25, mile an hour speed limits, but I would move to look into some of these streets, and if they are cul-de-sacs, maybe making the speed limits 15 as opposed to 20. That's just my observation on that.
Eric, would you like to touch on how speed limits are determined?
So there's a couple ways, but you've got MUTCD standards for all streets, which outlines different components, from stop signs to.
Will you define MUTC for,
Oh, gosh.
please?
I'll probably get it wrong.
Municipal Uniform Traffic Code?
Uniform Traffic Code, yes. Good. So that outlines different guidelines for different types of streets. So this all falls within, all of our traffic code has to fall within those particular standards. But obviously, speed limits can be adjusted. A couple ways we do that. We'll work with the police department to do traffic studies from time to time, where we'll actually go out, we'll put counters out, see what the average speed is. And then there's a formula that's based on the 85th percentile. And then based on that, whatever that particular speed is for that, it gives you a good gauge of what the actual speed limit should be. And we do a lot of those studies throughout the year, and sometimes we'll make adjustment. A couple of the ones we've maybe bumped up is because of those studies were based on that particular reason. So.
Is there any other questions? Seeing none, we have a motion and a second. So roll call vote, please.
Ms. Wingo? Yes. Ms. Chambers?
Yes.
Mr. Nguyen?
Yes.
Ms. Whalen?
Yes.
Mr. Schneider?
Yes.
Ms. Cable?
Yes.
Mayor, motion passes 6-0.
Next, we have ordinance 04-2025. It's an ordinance of the City of Florence, Kentucky, establishing procedures and regulations for declaring and managing snow emergencies within the city. This ordinance establishes new regulations for declaring and managing snow emergencies within the city. The ordinance provides for publication and notification to the general public regarding snow emergencies. This ordinance effectively repeals all previous procedures and regulations set forth in ordinance number 03793, enacted November 23rd, 1993, which directly relates to snow emergencies. All other aspects of Ordinance 0485 and 03793 shall remain in full force and effect. The full text of Ordinance 04-2025, including its exhibits, is available for examination in the office of the city clerk, 8100 Ewing Boulevard, during regular office hours. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Ms. Wingo? Second, Mr. Nguyen. Any discussion?
Can we talk just a minute about the parking restrictions? I know it says may instead of shall. Any vehicle parked in the public right-of-way during a declared snow emergency. Since that's been a topic of conversation that we've heard several things about, and cars parked on the street and the issues that they cause, just a little clarification of the may and the shall. I know if it says shall, then everybody gets a ticket if they're parked on the street. If it says may, it's at the discretion of the governing authority. But I guess I'm looking for some clarification from both public services and their need to have cars moved, and the police department and our ability to ticket those cars in the event we need to.
I'll go first. So currently, as you know, when there's a snow emergency, and it'll be the same here, once we reach 2 inches of snow, there'll be, we don't want traffic on the road. We need to be in your driveways. How we handle that is if there is something that is impeding our ability to either turn around, could be vehicles parked in a cul-de-sac, there could be different reasons. In that event, we will reach out to the police department and ask them, we will also, a lot of times, because they're busy, we'll try to take that first attempt of like, hey, can you move your car? If we do not get a response, then we'll reach out to them, and then we'll go from there. And in my time, maybe we've towed 1 or 2. So that's from my perspective. While it'd be great if all the vehicles were off the road, we can still do our thing. If they're not, so.
Chief?
And yeah, along those same lines, yeah, it'd be great if they moved, if everybody got their cars off the street. We don't have time to go out and ticket every car that's left on the street. And if it is impeding the plow trucks and we get a call, then yeah, we'll go out and do everything we can to get that car moved. If it's not, then we will go ahead and tow it if need be. But I think with how we do it right now is working effectively. Because if we did go out and ticket every car that's on the street, you know, so you got a lot of complaints about cars parked on the street. Well, imagine all the complaints you'll get about people getting the tickets. So I think the way we work it right now is the most effective way.
Any other discussion? Leslie?
Chief Wren, I know that when cars are parked on the street illegally, it will sometimes cause problems for your department. Can you maybe speak to the public about why that it's important, especially during a snow emergency, to be parked accordingly?
A lot of times during a regular weekday, a regular week through the summer, through the fall, whenever, we only have to watch for things like big trucks, big vehicles, dumpsters, you know, any kind of debris dumpsters, things like that. So most of the time we can get around all right. In the wintertime, most everybody is parked in places where they normally park, that we can maintain, that we can navigate anyhow. It would have to be one of those out of normal circumstances events like the dumpster or a large vehicle to really give us a problem. And worst case scenario, they have really big bumpers on the front of them. It's in an absolute emergency, we would actually push the vehicle out of the way ourselves. So I hope that answers your question.
Any other questions? Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Wingo? Yes. Ms. Chambers?
Yes.
Mr. Wynn?
Yes.
Ms. Whalen? Mr. Snyder?
Yes.
Ms. Cable?
Yes.
Mayor, motion passes 6-0.
Next is Resolution R3, 2025. It's a resolution of the City of Florence, Kentucky, opposing any bills brought forth during the 2025 Kentucky General Assembly session by any member of the Kentucky Legislature in full or in part that provides for the mandated centralized collection of local occupational fees and taxes by the Commonwealth of Kentucky or other third parties. Is there a motion to approve? Ms. Whalen.
Second.
Second, Mr. Schneider. I'm not used to saying that. All right, Mr. Hunt, did you have anything you wanted to add to this?
I'll just add that when we discussed this last week, that there was no bills that were introduced yet. There was a bill late last week that was introduced by a Jared Ballman out of Louisville and a Rachel Works, who's also out of Louisville. Did take the opportunity to read through the bill, and there is a few interesting things, really aren't surprising. So it does allow the state treasurer to impose a fee on everybody that is utilizing the website or paying for their occupational license. I don't know who gets charged that fee. It doesn't clarify. It doesn't clarify if it's the person that's applying or if the fee gets assessed to the city. And there is a little caveat in there that says it's going to create a working group to provide recommendations to further centralization of business tax collection. So that just means they're going to go after insurance premium taxes. And it sounds like there's not much support out there right now as it's currently written, but as it goes through committees, there'll be amendments to the bill, so we're tracking it to see where it'll go.
Do we have any discussion? Diane?
Yeah, I just think it's important that we keep our eye on this for us, for the city as a whole. They talk a lot about home rule. We're a home rule city, and this is, again, state government overreach. They're reaching in, trying to take over the centralized, and then again, tacking a fee onto it, which ends up in the state treasury. Any other time that we've witnessed them take over centralized collection from, the first thing they did was do away with city police courts, then they did away with our franchise tax fee, all the promises coming out of Frankfurt to hold us harmless, and it doesn't ever work. The cities lose, the state of Kentucky wins, and it's just one more government overreach into our pockets and to the pockets of our residents and constituents.
Anyone else? All right, roll call vote, please.
Miss Wingo?
Yes.
Miss Chambers?
Yes.
Mr. Wynn?
Yes.
Miss Whalen?
Yes.
Mr. Snyder?
Yes.
Miss Cable?
Yes.
Mayor, motion passes 6-0.
At this time, I'll call for a motion authorizing Mayor Julie M. Abishon to provide written correspondence and notice extending the city's solid waste contract with Rumpke for 2 years, beginning on April 1st, 2025. Is there a motion? Ms. Whalen, second by Mr. Wynn. Is there any discussion?
I think it's important, maybe Eric, you just touch on that real quick so that the residents of Florence know what a great deal we're getting for trash pickup.
Absolutely. So in 2018, we put our solid waste collection and recycling back out to bid, and we re-awarded that to Rumpke, which started on April 1st of 2019. The initial term was 2 years, and then we had 4 optional extensions, each are 2 years apiece. The second extension is currently up. This is authorizing the third extension. This will take us out till March 31st of 2027, and we'll have 1 left. The cost will increase for solid waste collection will increase from $6.62 per month to $7.02 per month, and the recycling rate will increase from $4.41 per month to $4.67 per month. And then during my presentation last week, I discussed on 10, 15 different communities that surround us where I had rates from 2022. And this was in Boone, Kenton, and Campbell County. And all of those rates that are in 2022 are higher than the rates that we will be increasing to here in 2025. And I'm pretty certain that those rates that I talked about in 2022 are also even more higher now. So this is a great opportunity for us to extend this. I highly recommend it. I do not think we would want to put this back out to bid. We entered into this pre-COVID and all the inflation that we've gone through. If we put this back out to bid, our residents and our community will be paying a lot more for trash collection.
Is there any other discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Miss Wingo?
Yes.
Miss Chambers?
Yes.
Mr. Wynn?
Yes.
Miss Whalen?
Yes.
Mr. Snyder?
Yes.
Miss Cable?
Yes.
Mayor, motion passes 6-0.
You did receive in your packets a memo with regard to the vacancy in the Florence Board of Adjustment and Zoning Appeals due to the resignation of Dwayne Frolicker. And there is an interested party, Mr. Jonathan Sterling, who has agreed to fill the remainder of Mr. Frolicker's unexpired term. I have for your consideration a municipal order MO1-2025. This is a municipal order approving the appointment of Jonathan Sterling to the Florence Board of Adjustment and Zoning Appeals to fill the unexpired term of Dwayne Frolicker. Is there a motion to approve? Mr. Wynn?
Second.
Second, Ms. Wingo. Any discussion? I know that Mr. Sterling is here with us tonight. If there's any questions? And you do have his resume in front of you. Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Miss Wingo?
Yes.
Miss Chambers?
Yes.
Mr. Wynn?
Yes.
Miss Whalen?
Yes.
Mr. Snyder?
Yes.
Miss Cable?
Yes.
Mayor, motion passes 6-0.
For the mayor's report, just a reminder that on Monday, February 17th, President's Day, the city of Florence will be open. We will allow you to visit with our President's Day display in the lobby, and this display will begin next Monday and go on until February 21st from 9 until 4 daily. If you have not done so already, register for our upcoming Books and Bottles evening program on February 28th from 6 to 8:30 at the Florence Nature Park Event Center. That's 7200 Nature Park Drive in Florence. The authors speaking for the evening will be Ashley Dubois, author of the inspiring memoir, Yes, But I Still Have Joy, and author Patricia McLinn, known for her engaging Secret Sleuth series. Guests can enjoy light appetizers and a cash bar. Tickets are $15 and can be purchased through our link on Eventbrite. As part of the Book and Literacy Festival, we will also feature a Saturday morning children's program, March 1st from 10 to 12 at the Florence Nature Park Event Center. The event will feature an author story time with Brittany Thurman and Jen Spalding, a puppet show by Red River City Puppets, and the Boone County Public Library will be there with the Dolly Parton Imagination Library. The event is free. We will be hosting our citywide St. Patrick's Day scavenger hunt from March 7th through the 17th. Throughout the city, there will be 9 giant Irish symbols hidden. We encourage participants to capture their journey by taking photos at each stop and emailing the photos to the designated email address that is scavenger.hunt@florence-ky.gov. Participants that send all 9 will receive a pot of gold prize. The first clue is: go where they stand, the leaders who guide this bustling land. Outdoors where the mayor's steps are known, the symbol you see is there, clearly shown. So be on the lookout starting on March 7th. The Florence Police Department will hold their Police Citizens Academy beginning March 26th through May 14th. This is an 8-week class. It will be held on Wednesdays from 6:30 to 9, and the application is available on the City of Florence website. Please contact the Florence Police Department at 859-647-5420 for more information. Is there anyone on council who desires recognition? Is there any department heads? Is there anyone in the audience? Come to the podium, please. State your name.
I won't take too much of anyone's time. I know y'all are trying to get out of here and go watch that game. Yeah, it's Alex Evans. I own Grateful Skate Shop. I was just hoping for an update on the skate park lighting. I know Duke Energy came through and put the meter base in and the breaker panel, and we got new lights up there. And you guys were talking about March 1st, but there hasn't been anything officially, stated for it. And I just want to, let the public know.
You're excited.
Yeah.
Eric.
He's right, we're ready. So effective March 1st was the last discussion that we had where we can go live, and we'll just have to discuss internally how we want to push that message out. Or however we want to do that. So we're ready
know
to turn
of
them on.
a time that they're going to turn off?
We have not discussed the actual time yet, but that's a simple set to a particular time.
So could we get
And
it?
it is, I believe we need to call this a pilot program because it would be in conflict with our parks ordinance. So we will probably try out a set time period and see how that works, and we can adjust.
Okay. All right.
Eric,
Thank
were
you.
you able to find out about the basketball courts in Boone Woods to
Not
see how
yet.
they do it?
Not yet.
So my understanding is in Boone Woods, they have a button they can press, and it resets the time for them to be able to play. That way, if someone, gets off works late and they, want to go shoot some basketball, they can. Same thing happens with these guys. It's not just 14, 15-year-olds out there at the skate park. A lot of these are, young men that work various hours and they just want to get their exercise in and, skate. So I think it would be nice if the city would consider allowing them to choose their hours.
All
I
right,
can't
thank
say I
you.
wouldn't agree.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, I think it could be nice to try something like 11 p.m. weekdays, 12 a.m. on the weekends just to start and kind of get a feel for it. But I think we want everyone to use the park as much as possible. So, having the hours limited kind of eliminates that. We could even have something like a motion sensor to where it'd be like, every if 15 minutes goes by and there's no motion, the lights turn off. But if there's people there, the lights are on, and, if the police is driving by, they can see that people are there using the park, whatever time of night that may be.
We do have to, like I said, this is kind of a pilot. We'll work through it. We do have to be cognizant that most of our parks are in residential neighborhoods, and I don't feel that people in the those residential neighborhoods would like lights on at 2 and 3
For
in the
sure,
morning.
but-
So we'll have to balance that.
Yeah.
But thank you for coming and your excitement about the skate park.
Yeah, it's really
Yeah,
nice
we've
that
been,
the
we've
skate
been
park
working on it
does-
for a while, so definitely,
The skate
Alex has
park
done
does
a
have
great job,
some
but yeah, it's,
residential nearby.
thanks.
Thank
yeah,
you.
there is some people that live through the woods. There's some houses on the other side of that. So I think the skate park is unique, that it's also very close to the police station. So it would be a safe place to allow more freedom for the people that want to be there.
Totally, yeah. I mean, the laundromat already has its lights on all day, all night, so. But, yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Once again.
Anyone else? There is a need for a closed session pursuant to KRS 61.8101B, acquisition, sale of real property where publicity would likely affect the value of the property to be acquired for public use or to be sold by the city, and KRS 61.8101C, litigation proposed or pending against or on behalf of the city. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Ms. Wingo? Second, Ms. Whalen. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We will return to this room. Do not anticipate any further business taking place following closed session. Thank you all for coming.